What's up guys, Larry Chen here. Welcome to Hoonigan Autofocus. We got my good friend Casey Currie here, and you brought out your Casey Currie trophy Jeep, right? So you're the only one that has something like this, a trophy Jeep.
So my goal was to make something go fast in Baja, but be able to go race the gnarly King of the Hammer. So like build something different than everybody else, and it's been a lot of fun. We won a lot of races and she's fast.
Yeah, she is very fast. She looks amazing. And the thing is, I've been able to photograph this thing over the years, just all different liveries, all different races, right? Down in Baja, at King of the Hammers. It's just so crazy. I mean, it's just, why is it that no one else does this?
I think the biggest thing is that a lot of the guys that race desert don't want to race in the rocks. The hardest thing about this whole thing is that when you're racing in the rocks, you're literally scratching and smashing all the panels and the A-arms and the control arms. So like it gets well abused, and it's not, I don't think a lot of people like to do that. So you know, the desert people stick to the desert, the rock guys stick to the rocks, and then there's just me in the middle. So I wish there was more guys that want to do both, because it's a challenge to race for 1,000 miles in Baja, because it takes a unique vehicle, and that's something that I feel that like not a lot of Ultra 4 cars can do, is go and race the Baja 1000 without having a bunch of problems. And then trying to go through the hammers, and actually getting through the hammers is its own defeat in itself.
Right, okay, so with the Ultra 4 class in Baja 1000, like there have been competitors who tried to use their unmodified Ultra 4.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, the thing is, in Ultra 4 at King of the Hammers, there is a desert section that you have to go pretty fast in, but the point is that you're essentially using something that is a rock crawler for that.
Yes.
Right? There's a lot of give and take, and more of it is to be faster in the rocks.
100%. That's where Hammers is one in the rocks. We all know that. That's why, I mean, dude, the last couple of years I've had some freaking terrible luck. But the biggest thing is, one thing that if you notice, like I have overhang off the back, right? Like there's so many vertical climbs, and you know, whether you're going up or down, that like for me, I have the fuel cell off the back, and getting the fuel cell off the back in the desert is insane. It makes the car ride so much better in the big bumps and fast stuff. But when you're going down something vertical, you put that weight up here, all it does is want to rotate over and make the car want to flip over.
So like, for example, with this trophy Jeep, you've given up a lot in the rocks for it to be faster in the desert.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, but the theory was, you know, when I originally built it, was to basically make it where, you know, like right now, trailing arms, the shock, coilover, and bypass are up on the top arm. So like my theory was to make it where I'm like, okay, sacrifice here, gain here, sacrifice there, gain here. And like really, you know, to me, I haven't shown the full potential of what it can do. I need to go out, and the biggest thing I've done in the last couple of years is race Dakar. Well, when you're racing Dakar in January, for the first 2 or 3 weeks of January, like it's very difficult to go to the hammers and practice. So this year, the goal is to go practice and try to get this thing to perform better in the rocks. I think it has the potential. Just need to fine tune it.
So one of my favorite King of the Hammers memories from over the years is following you when you're pre-running. When I say pre-running, what you were actually doing is you entered a race in your street Jeep.
Oh yeah.
In your street Jeep. Okay, it's what you drove every day, and on top of that, you had 3 passengers with you. So it was like a clown car. I was so happy to be able to see this. So in essence, the best way to pre-run the course is to actually run a race. So you ran the Everyman Challenge race, which is before the actual race, right? Why did you have 3 people with you?
So my whole thing was like, everyone builds these like Wazoo Everyman Challenge. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the opposite. Like I'm gonna take a stock Jeep, literally a stock 2-door Jeep, and I'm gonna put 4 seats in it, because no one's ever done that before. I read the rules, and then I'm like, dude, we're gonna drive it from home to the race and drive it home. So I loaded up. In the desert, I only had 2 people, because trying to get that weight off the back, and then in the rocks, dude, loaded it up. And we took a seriously stock Jeep with some bolt-on accessories, nothing fabricated, only bolt-on, and drove hammers. And
only 35-inch tires.
Oh, and 35s, which is, dude, I mean, the course is made for 40 and 42s, and we were on a Jeep on 35s. It was difficult.
So it was our buddy Kyle is one of the riders who was filming you.
Yep.
And you had probably just one tourist guy,
yep.
just taking cell phone pictures, taking selfies, and then you had your co-driver.
Yeah. So Oren, man, it was like one of those things that was like an adventure and a challenge in itself. And like first, like we were trying to race, but like not scratch it, because I'm like, dude, if we take it home, not damage, I can go to Moab and have Larry drive this Jeep in Moab on 40s 2 weeks later, which you did. That was literally 2 weeks later. We took that same Jeep, put on 40s.
I didn't even know that, but
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You have a photo of on Hell's Revenge parked up on top of one of the Mickey's hot tubs in that Jeep.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
let's go over this build. So how many years has it been for you to develop this to get it to this point?
I think it's been 5 years now. Original concept was obviously to race Baja and King of the Hammers. And then just it kept evolving. Now I've done some short car races. It's won the Baja 1000, the Mint 400. I went to an Ultra 4 event at Crandon. It's won there. So it's got a pretty good winning streak. But it's basically 850 horsepower LS motor built by Redline. It's got 29 inches of rear travel, 21 in the front. It's always in 4-wheel drive, except for we built a special front differential that only has forward drive, meaning it has, if I put it in reverse, it's only 2-wheel drive.
What?
Yeah, so basically by doing that, it allows it, when I'm under braking and whoops, it doesn't allow any transfer of load through the CVs or the front drive shaft or into the transfer case. So that way the two drive shafts aren't ever fighting each other.
That makes so much sense.
So yeah,
right? Because if it was still connected, you have to spin the same in the front
every time,
and then you lock up the front all the time when you're under brake.
That's right.
It would be so hard on the transmission.
Oh, and then the problem with that is like to get the car to set up correctly for brake bias, like you have to have it 50-50 because all the tires get to stop together. Well, now I put the brake bias exactly where I want it, which makes it so I can set the car better in corners. So yeah, we played a lot with that. So my dad designed that, and we have it in here, and we built two, and I have both. And ran that 40-inch total tire spare, 80 gallons of fuel. We run the satellite radio, so we always, communication super important. It's all Motec, everything. Basically, James Lynn wired the whole thing. Everything is ran off parameters, so super nice in that aspect. Baja design headlights. Yeah, the Nitto 40s. Oh, our brand new billet KMCs. Like, these wheels are
these are so cool.
Dude, they are.
And so this is no bead look here. This is all real bead lock.
That is right. That's yeah. So these are actual real bead lock, and then dude, the new machine. I mean, that's all machined here in the United States. Pretty amazing what they do with their new wheels. So KMC's definitely does some evolving. So I'm pretty stoked. Actually, they're brand new for right now, so I'm excited to actually be driving it. So it's pretty cool.
And then Willwood brakes.
Oh yeah, we run Willwood brakes front and rear. We have to run a skinnier rotor in the front than the back, just because so it's a 5.5-inch backspace wheel, which is a high offset for a lot of load. But so we tuck as much brake as we can in there. It's tight. Series 30 CV on the inside. So that's what the grease fitting's for, like long desert races, being able to pump new CV grease at all times. So we do that. But yeah, Fox shocks. It's got 3.0 in the front, 3.5 or 4.0 on the back. It's been a while. But yeah, so basically everything cooler wise.
So who built the chassis?
So the chassis was built by Raceco, Jamie Campbell. Helped me design the original chassis, and then Paul Michelle at Racer Services helped me finish it. And then obviously the creation and the concept, it was all in my head. So, you know, like etch a sketch, kind of like this is what I want, and yeah, we built it up. So
I do have to say, out of most of the Ultra 4 vehicles, they don't actually look like the car that they're supposed to be based off of, right? Recently, Vaughn and Lauren and Jason, right? They got their Bronco body, and it actually looks kind of like a Bronco. It does look good. It looks good. But this actually looks like a Jeep.
Yeah, so the whole concept from the beginning is it has to look like a Jeep. I'm a big Jeep guy, Jeep family, Currie Enterprises. It had to look like a Jeep. Grill, hood, that's a JL hood.
This is a real?
So it's a JL molded hood.
Molded,
and then
okay.
All we did was take the mold.
The shape
the
is
shape.
iconic.
So yeah, that was our whole thing. And then see now the headlights recessed into there. If you look at a JL, it's identical to that.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to look like a JL. That was my whole thing. It's got to look like a Jeep.
Yeah.
So, and the biggest thing that everyone's like, oh, the technology is advancing in crazy ways. But the biggest thing that we do is the front end and the rear end are Currie components. So basically everything we do on this is like, it's just testing and abuse for like the products that my dad's company makes. So like everything we do on this is just to learn and figure out how to make things better for, all of our customers as well. So, but yeah, Sparko seats, lights everywhere. You got the amber, so when it's dusty during the day, you can kind of see through some of the dust, and obviously the lights up top for when there's no dust. So
tell me about this damage here.
So I doing the Ultra 4 event, and I got into a situation that I needed to pass the 6100, and I knew there was a pinch point where like they have to go super slow or they can go around. Well, I had a truck go around, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go through it fast. Well, I missed my mark. I didn't go through it straight. I literally nicked the corner and basically peeled the whole side of the car off. I got the pass, but I literally, peeled. This is all new. I have a whole new body for it, but I literally peeled the body off it. Passing.
That's incredible.
It's always something.
At least you got the pass.
I did get the pass. That's important.
But like, do you have to carry a lot of spares on here?
So spares, I got one tire. I carry spare starter, spare alternator, belts, almost every one of the accessory pulleys we have on it, and then rather than that, caps for all the everything has a cap. We don't carry spare brake lines. We just cap them, and then. Rather than that, we can shut off all the brakes, either all the front brakes or all the back brakes or all the brakes if needed, which we don't do. But if we had to, shut those off. And then rather than that, fluids, and that's it. So everything for us is, we're only going to win. I'm not going to finish. So it's got to be fast enough change that we can get it done within, like, we look at it like 30 minutes. If it's longer than that, then the race is over. The chase trucks have everything at that point.
So this is your office.
So this is the office. Super cool new thing. All magnetic Parker pumpers. So that way you used to have to push them on. So Maglock makes a deal now where it has a magnet onto your helmet. Sparko seats, Sparko steering wheel. So everything's Motec. So I got one dash panel on my side. I only care about literally 7 things: 4 tires, oil pressure, water temp, and tranny temp. That's all I care about. So on my dash, all it does is read those, because mentally after like 10 hours of driving, you're sitting there going like, I have a flat. No, I don't. Yeah, I have a flat. No, I don't. So like, I literally put it so on my side I can just look down and be like, no, I don't have a flat, because tire pressure still reads accurate. Rather than that, big GPS on his side, race radio, sat radio up top. It's all push button, everything, it's basically everything's automatic. The cool thing about Motec is that everything they do parameter wise, like fans turn on back, it's just like driving a car, right? You hit the start button. Besides headlights, everything's automatic. It knows when to turn things on, off. If the fuel pickup, it loses fuel pressure, it'll turn the second pump on. If fans start not working, it'll reflash them, trying to get them to reset. It does a lot of that stuff. We have an automatic drinker system where basically we have hoses into our helmets. You hit a button and it puts cold water in your mouth, which is nice. Rather than that, he's got on his side some fluids and some spare parts, and then the biggest thing for me is you got the visors and just being comfortable. So seat pads, actually we got these new comfy seat pads that are like gel. You need to put your hand on that seat cushion, not that, just feel that thing.
Whoa, that's super cool.
It really is nice.
In terms of power, 850 horsepower.
So it does 850. It's 850 horsepower. I run a turbo 400 transmission, Atlas transfer case. It does 124. So like flat out, I could probably work on taking some stuff off it, but I do 124 right now across the lake pit. So like at the Hammers a couple months ago.
You actually hit 124?
Yeah, it was 124 for like 4 miles. Wow. It never moves. It's so poorly aerodynamic. We all know that it's got the radiator top just killing my flow, and then it picks up. This thing right here is about like that high, because that so much air is forcing up that basically the hood is smashed up.
You're probably like almost like wheeling down the like.
But at 124 it stays good. That's where I'm like, I needed more power or a different transmission, because you don't, if you go fast there, everyone's like, oh, what's it matter? It's only 2 miles an hour for 5 minutes. You're like, well, dude, you know how hard that is to make up in the whoops? Like, you can't do it. So, yeah, the thing rips. Like, it feels comfortable at those speeds. Like, I don't know. It feels comfortable for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people don't like it.
Last thing, of course, Currie axles, right? You guys make these in-house?
We make these in-house. So basically, we have all sizes. We do it for pre-runners, Jeeps, hot rods, muscle cars, military. So this is the same design housing that we run for like military, for muscle cars, for pre-runners, for off-road trucks. And like the biggest thing for me is obviously showing the durability of it. So we actually have it in ourselves. So if you actually look at ours, the pumpkin is off to one side, like, so it's got a super short axle and then a crazy long axle. The engine's in the car backwards. Everything is actually upside down. So like technically, my engine's backwards, tranny's backwards, transfer case is backwards. My front differential is technically upside down, and this is actually upside down.
Just to give you that much more clearance.
That's right. So I'm high pinging now. I'm running on the wrong side of the gear, but we run a special gear case with a load bolt, and then we run special oil to make sure it doesn't burn up. But yeah, basically everything is driving backwards.
What?
So pretty unique.
That is so cool.
So it's pretty wild. So ran that, like, yeah, it's actually the same rear end that's been in it for like, actually since the beginning. I built a new one, but every time we go out it still works. So I'm like, just run it. But yeah, this thing's been it's been a very, very reliable car. So we've raced a lot and had a lot of good success, and now I just want to keep racing it. I want to keep going to more races, more challenges, finding more races around the world that I can ship it to, and I want to go challenge it anywhere I can.
You're like a off-road race tourist.
That's what I want to be. Dude, my biggest thing now, I'm 37. I've traveled and been able to race all over the world, and I'm like, where else can I go? Like,
you've won Dakar.
Yeah, I won Dakar. Not a lot of people from America have won it. So like
you and
Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky. Just on a motorcycle.
Yeah. So actually, I'm the only one that's won it in 4 wheels. So, but I think now is like, where else can we race in the world? Everything is like, people go to the same races over and over again. I'm like, I want to go somewhere new. Like, I'm going to Brazil in a couple weeks. So I'm like, where else can I go? I want to go to Australia. There's got to be more people racing that we're just not seeing, and it's probably huge. So you got to find it.
Yeah. So I like that. Well, today we're going to do something special. You're going to do some testing, and we're actually going to shoot you from the helicopter.
We did.
Which is going to be really cool.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's get to shooting.